Hello everybody, it is Azazel the Basement Dweller here, and after much deliberation and heavy community influence, the Skullgirls Lore series is ready to continue. Haha, yes, awesome, great! Yeah, okay, let's get started. It took a bit, but I finally gotten up the gusto and the time to research and make a new script, and this one is for a character that I think is incredibly interesting. You all know her, you all love her. Today we're looking at the original antagonist with a heart of gold, the classic ninja nurse herself, Valentine. Now, Valentine is a very interesting character in a lot of different ways, and we're going to start with her basic lore. Valentine is the final surviving member of the Last Hope. The Last Hope was a Black Ops anti-Skullgirl battalion of nurses that were all incredibly efficient in combat. They've been noted as being incredibly dangerous, but also incredibly kind and helpful in the post-war effort to rebuild, as can be seen in Valentine's story mode from Skullgirls Mobile. Sadly, as stated previously, all but Valentine were killed by Marie during a recuperation effort in No Man's Land, and this is where Valentine's story mode begins in Skullgirls proper. Now, I typically like to go into backstory after doing basic character facts, but interestingly enough, we actually don't know much else about Valentine from before what we see in the game. The mobile game usually is a great source for this stuff, but all the mobile game does in this case is confirm things we already knew, and just kind of sheds light on the bond of the members of the Last Hope, but it doesn't give us anything lore related or story related, which is actually pretty interesting. It seems like the developers wanted to keep her story intentionally in the dark, so I think they have a lot of plans for her going forward in the future. But speaking of things that aren't too interesting to look at, let's talk about looking at Valentine. Let's talk about her design. Now, Valentine is weird. She's scantily clad in nurse scrubs. She has a long blue bang and ponytail, with the bang covering one of her eyes. If you've played the game, you can see that when the bang moves, the eye in question is patched. The reason for this was the destruction of Lab 7. She was injured. She also has a scar on her lip, but this scar isn't explained in any story she's been in, which is kind of interesting. That's typically not the case. They like to explain why characters look the way they do. The only other fun fact about her design is her weapons. All of her weapons were collected from other members of the Last Hope, each of them being used in combat in some way, which I think is incredibly interesting. As for her story, Valentine's pretty simple. After her team is killed by Marie, she's given the choice to work for Marie in Double, or to join her squad in Death. Obviously, she agrees to work with them, and in every character story mode, she's one of the major antagonists. In her story mode, we see her as the tragic villain, as we get to learn her backstory, and her story ends with her betraying Marie in Double, wishing instead to become the Skullgirl, which is very interesting. She leaves her weapons behind for Painwheel to discover, and she wants Painwheel to become her protege in some sort of way, and use these weapons to kill her in the next 7-year rotation. Other than that, all we really know about Valentine lore-wise is that she worked at Lab 0. Lab 0 is an anti-Skullgirl laboratory where she worked with the scientist Brain Drain to kidnap and experiment people, most notably Painwheel. And we know, as players, that she eventually grew to hate Brain Drain and his cruel practices, as in her story she defects from Lab 0 and makes a pact to kill him. One of the reasons she joined the Last Hope in the first place was to get away from him. So, interesting fact there. And sadly, my dear viewers, that's about all there really is to say about Valentine. She's a very interesting character, but she's interesting because we actually don't know that much about her. There's simply not enough information going around. However, as I love to do, here are some fun facts and facts that didn't really fit into any of the other sections that we saw. I hope these keep you guys interested a little bit. All of the members of the Last Hope are named after holidays: Christmas, Hallow, Patty, Valentine, and Easter. And as stated previously, Valentine makes use of each of their weapons in combat. She takes Hollow's needles, which is her down back punch, the body bag, which is her jump heavy kick, the Patty's saw, which is her bone saw, Easter's IV staff. Valentine's unique weapon was the Dead Cross, which is actually pretty cool. Valentine is also shown to have some sort of history with Parasol, given the fact that they have an opening interaction together, but this is never expanded on in any of the games, so it's a bit sad there. Finally, Valentine has been shown to be a much better person than we see in Skullgirls proper. In the mobile game, we see her ignoring orders and advice from Christmas to make sure she can save as many people as possible from No Man's Land, and Christmas actually makes a specific comment damning Valentine for her good heart. So, her being an antagonist with a heart of gold and feeling bad for what they did to Painwheel actually fits pretty well with the story they gave her later on, which I really enjoy. I think Valentine makes the most sense as a gold-hearted antagonist. And as I said before, that's about it, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I know you guys might be a little disappointed by how little we all know about this, but that's the way it goes when you're talking about Skullgirls lore. If I left out anything with the small amount that we do know, feel free to drop it in the comment section. And as I love to do, the question for this video: who is your favorite member of The Last Hope? Personally, I love Easter. I think she has the best design. She's really cute, and I like her little nurse hat with the horns. I think it's really nice. But that's just me. Anyways, if you like what you saw, remember to like, comment, subscribe, dislike it if you dislike it. This is me, Azazel the Basement Dweller, and I'll see you guys in the next Skullgirls lore video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.